very much. Great job by Erica. Great job by Marcus again. A couple different perspectives to look at. Today we're going to talk about what we're doing here in the UK and what our plans are. Quite honestly, this was a difficult presentation to put together. I'd much rather sit and talk to people and travel around and visit your clubs and see you. I think it's easier to explain than it is to try to give in a PowerPoint. Got that all lined up? So we talked about this a little bit. The same old thinking and expecting different results is what's Einstein say? Definition of insanity, right? So I think that we're at a great spot. We're at a fresh start and a fresh opportunity. So we can flush this, right? We're talking about being solution engineers. We're talking about finding a new way forward. So what and who is the foundation? Anybody want to take a stab at that? Maybe just what is the foundation? Somebody want to take a stab? Like, what's your perception of it, like, now? Like, somebody? What's that? Jeff?
Someone told us give some money towards GB ice hockey, and it's a good vehicle to eliminate tax.
That's a straightforward, simple answer, right? Like, we're really freaking lucky that we've got a guy that loves hockey that has stepped up to support the growth and development of hockey in this country, right? And so we're really lucky that that's happening, and now we have to be mindful of that and try to deliver a product that is that's worthy of that.
Have you ever worked with Dr. Francis? Oh yeah, he's okay.
Just okay?
Guess who just got reinstated? Well, not officially. Nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. I'll see you in there.
Just okay is not okay. It's
So I saw that, and I'm like, man, that just represents a lot of our youth hockey clubs, like in North America. And so I've added that to my presentations for several years because we've got a lot of youth programs that are just okay. But, I mean, I think you're in this room, you've spent the weekend here. I think we all are pretty like-minded that just okay is not okay. We're dealing with kids, we're dealing with families, and we're dealing with a lot of passionate people. So we've got to remind maybe some of those other people that aren't here that just okay is not okay, especially with the opportunity that we have right now in front of us. So we've talked about being solution engineers, no excuses, making it happen, right? We've got to just find our way forward. We know we have a lot of challenges. So what is the foundation? What is it based on? Okay, so first and foremost is these 5 pillars. And the 5 pillars are growth and development. So I truly believe that the foundation of any successful hockey program is recruiting new kids. I worked at Procter & Gamble for a while before I became a full-time hockey employee. And in Procter & Gamble, it was the sales division of Procter & Gamble, and you always needed to be priming the pump for your next customers. And I think that's the same thing with hockey. I know in the U.S. with hockey, we just had the mindset that, hey, even if we don't improve our development programs, as long as we get more kids in, we'll have more survivors of crappy programs, and at least we'll have more players that survived. And if we can get more kids in that survive, plus improve the development programs, then maybe we'll be able to take a step forward. So I'm a huge believer in growth and development is the foundation of our success moving forward. Then you can see to the left of that, we have hockey development, and that encompasses coach development and supporting clubs with helping to continuously train their coaches, and also player development, putting together a player development program that can be delivered by the volunteers at the youth club level. To the right, you see goaltending development. I mentioned the other night that was the first pillar that we were able to fully staff. So we're very lucky. We've actually got a running start there with a lot of great programs led by Ewan and his group with some position-specific stuff with goaltending. And as I said, I was taught a long time ago that you want to have a chance of winning, get off the bus with the best goalie. So put a lot of energy and effort into that. And then on the far left and the far right, those are two pillars that we have not staffed yet. To the far left is athlete development, or athlete performance, I like to refer to it as. And that's getting kids bigger, stronger, faster, better conditioned athletes, physically, mentally, lifestyle, and what it means to be an elite athlete, or to be an athlete, to develop sporty lifestyle, to develop healthy habits, and actually a mindset of being an athlete. And then to the far right, after a year of watching all the GB teams and watching the competitive levels of hockey, we struggle to score goals. We struggle to create offense. So I've identified that. There's a few people that are around that can help us with that, I believe. But that is the object of the game, right? Is like Kenny Roush said the other day, that little team we coached for a couple of years, we actually got it to a point where our goal was to score 7 goals a game, and they did it. I mean, they did it full season. And they weren't very good players, but with the way you create practice plans and create a mindset, you can score. And, we want to score more than 3 goals a game. That'll give us a chance to win. So we do have to place a focus on that. A lot of people say, oh, is it skill development? Is it shooting, scoring? Is it skating? No, it's scoring goals. Period. I don't care how you do it. Figure it out. We got to score goals if we want to win anything. So those are the 5 pillars. There's a little bit more detail about that, but you can see we're still in the hiring process, for our hiring in progress for those 2 pillars to the right. So this is where we are today. You can see we're hiring a lot of people, right? Like this is it's pretty incredible opportunity, quite frankly. Top left there, you see Fairhot, and down below him there, you see we still have the Scottish region is still open, and we're interviewing for that. But we've just recently been able to hire Sandro and Chrissy. That's awesome to be able to have those two with their backgrounds and experience. Ewan with the goaltending pillar. You can see we've got a blend of people that are from the UK, and then some people that we've been able to get work permits for and help have them come over here to help us. And then Quentin and Corey and Ewan helping those guys as a co-national manager for hockey development. And then you can see we've added David Clark also to help us out in a role. We're lucky to have that. And then bottom right there, it doesn't take up the space that it deserves, but when was it, Jai? Was it January? January, Alexandra and Jai joined us, and they've been a huge support to us from an infrastructure side of things. And we've actually, the top right there, we have actually recently hired Mike as a finance and ops manager, and he's only been on for a short time so far, but it's really helped us get ourselves organized and provide some infrastructure with those 3 people over there. So our model is we divide it by region. When I originally pitched the idea to our financial supporter, I recommended 5 regions. I thought that was pretty aggressive, but a lot of people talked about the conference setup in the past. So it was approved for 5 regions, but I thought to get us started and off the ground and establish some structure, we need to get to work too. We can't spend all our time on hiring people and interviewing people. So we just made it real simple, and you can see where these guys are all sorted and with their regions there. Any questions about that? No? Pretty straightforward. So I truly believe these are the 10 common components of what I believe are the foundation for world-leading development program. Is one, like I said, recruitment. We talked, and you guys have heard yesterday about athlete-centered, science-based player development programs. Okay, so once we're hockey guys are made aware of that, I think we can't turn back, right? We have to make sure that we pay attention to that science base, that we're we're exposed to. Coach development. Was talking to Pete Wynn quite a bit yesterday and about, I think there's coach certification, I think there's coach education, and I think there's coach development. And the role we're playing right now is that ongoing support of coaches, that they go to a clinic, they get certified, they get their education, and then we're there on a day in, day out basis to provide resources and provide support in the club, on the ice, maybe have a coffee with coaches, maybe have a phone call, emails, those types of things to support those coaches. Efficient off-ice training first. I talked about, I haven't really mentioned this yet, but some of my observations is I don't see hardly any off-ice training going. I haven't seen any 5 to 10-year-olds doing any off-ice here at all. And so I think that's low-hanging fruit for us to work on. High-quality, efficient practice plans, and I mentioned the activity tracker. Do we think or do we know? Every coach, we get off the ice, we think that's pretty good practice. Or, that wasn't a great practice. Maybe it was. But do we really know? Did anybody really analyze it? Do we really know how many reps, how much time kids were actually active? So we can strive to be better at that. Game understanding and hockey sense. Personally, I think hockey sense is more important than individual skill, but it is something that we can work on. Body contact and body checking. Haven't seen any in a year, little over a year being here, going to practices. I haven't seen any body contact, body checking, especially off ice, that leading up to something on the ice. So we can implement some of that. Goaltender program. That's, like I said, we're probably further ahead with the goaltending program than anything else we're doing. Some great stuff going on there. And then the use of video. So we've started to build out a library of video of drills and practices, but also some game clips, some ways we want to play, some habits and some concepts that we want to build out video so that the volunteer youth dad coach that's in the club at whatever age group can sit down with his players, can distribute that via email maybe, send a link, whatever. We want to build that infrastructure that makes it real simple so that the volunteer dad coach and mom coach don't have to go and clip video themselves, find it, and distribute it. And then I steal from Steve. I love this saying is plan, execute, and review. And just constantly doing that, and that's that desire to be constantly trying to get better. So I think it's just a funny little clip, right, to just remind us that we all need to help each other. No one has the perfect plan. No one has the perfect solution. It's not hockey in a box and just it's not a recipe or a cookbook. We all have our own challenges. We all have our own strengths. That's what I like about our staff that we're putting together. There's a lot of variety, a lot of differences in background, and a lot of strengths, I think, that we're building on that team. And so, as you know, in your clubs, there's a lot of different strengths. So we all just need to, I think if we bring it together, we're like a good hockey team, right? A good hockey team that has a lot of different assets on it. So where are we now? Somebody might have mentioned this slide, but we can't continue to do what we're doing and expect different results. So membership growth and development, what are we doing? We want to focus on the root, not the fruit, okay? There's a lot of hockey clubs, I know. I've been involved in clubs myself. We want to focus on the oldest team, the best team, whatever. But my experience says we need to take care of that bottom end, and then we can worry about the top end. If we have that bottom end feeding the top end consistently, then we're going to have some success. So what are they doing? Fairhot and his group, they're going out into schools, try and learn to play, try hockey, different experiences like that. That's just one example of what they've been doing. Hockey development, Ewan's been driving this, doing a lot of webinars with different groups on the hockey development side. This started with the GB Futures last summer, and it's continued through with different age groups. And this is a big part of what we're going to do, because we can get around, we can target age groups, we can target age group coaches, we can target parents by doing these free webinars for people to join that complement our club visits. Just a little example here. We've had some really impressive presenters join us there, Jay Verity from the Flyers, and then several national team players and coaches that have volunteered their time to walk kids through different habits and concepts that we want to stress that we think are important. The goaltending side of things, this is just a little practice plan that Ewan helped somebody with when he was at a club visit. He talked to the coach. He observed the practice. After the practice, he talked to the coach. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Ewan, but he took out IHS, Ice Hockey Systems, and said, your drills were good. It was just the way you utilized the ice and structured them in the order you did them in. If you structure it like this, fewer kids will stand around, fewer kids will stand in line, you'll have more activity, and we can get more done in that hour. Doing club visits and goaltending specific things, so we're targeting goaltending only, but then we're also doing things where we have goaltenders are invited, or it's just the goalies in the club. We do a little bit of both, where we work with the clubs and just the club players, or we do an invite only, where players from the region and surrounding clubs, kind of that umbrella concept, and we can do a goalie thing, but also complement that with doing a shooting scoring. So reality is, this is where we are today, and I told Pete this, and I didn't mean it to be offensive by any means. I actually meant it to be complimentary to the team and the guys and the coaches. But so this is an updated screenshot of where we are on the men's side right now. You can see we were 16th and participated in the World Championship. We just dropped down to 18. And that's without Russia and Belarus being in there. So our goal from, well, I don't know if it's Kevin and Clifton's goal, or is it more than, I think it's more, I don't want to speak on behalf of Ice Hockey UK or GB program, but I think all of us are competitive. We want to be in the A pool. And I want to be in the A pool. And I want to be consistently in the A pool. And I want us to be competitive in the A pool. So this is, but we have to acknowledge where we are. Is reality, right? It's reality and why we're here, and then how we take a step forward. So you look at my mind thinks, okay, so if we're 18 or 20, who's ahead of us that we can make some strides against? What do we have to do? And I look at things like number of players. So how many youth players do we have? How many ice rinks do we have? And what can we do to build a program that maximizes the ice we have, improves the coaching, improves the player development side of things on a day-in, day-out basis to help us move up against, we're nose and nose with Hungary right now. And I laughed. I didn't know this, but I saw something on social media 2 days ago. I think I sent it to some of the guys, that Hungary had one of these, I'm proud to say with half the people, a summit like this to talk about the exact same stuff we're talking about. We had a better lineup of speakers, I think. We had more participants, I'm proud of. But that's the kind of the dogfight we're in. And then so who can we compete against? Who can we take a step ahead of? And that's the kind of work we're looking at and doing. So when I say we took a plastic spoon to a gunfight, this is a breakdown that we were given of the rosters at the men's World Championships. You can see down the left, it's top ranked down to 19, and you can see NHL, the top left, and going across in descending order. You can see teams like Canada, US, Sweden, Finland had a bunch of National Hockey League players, and then others had AHL, and then others had some players from the top leagues in Europe. And then you can see where GB is. So it's actually amazing that GB played at that level and played competitively against the gold medal winning team, and the silver medal winning team. It's a huge compliment to the coaching staff and a huge compliment to the players that they scratched and clawed and competed and didn't give up and were able to be that respectful against opponents like that. When you actually look at the roster and the background of the roster, I'm not condemning the players by any means, but this is the fact and this is the rumor. If any of us think we're doing a good job, like providing players to the GB program, we've got to do a much better job preparing our players. We got to be serious about it, or else let's just don't even think about this and just call it recreational hockey. But if we want to compete with the big boys in the real hockey tournaments, we've got to get serious about what we do at the grassroots level, day in and day out. We got to find solutions. So my observations is there's no off-ice training, poor conditioned athletes, lack of athleticism, too many kids playing up, and I know this is going to be some controversy, and I hope I get your attention. I don't mean to piss you off. If it's going to piss you off, I apologize. But this is what we want to work with you on. In my mind, there's too many kids playing up and playing for too many teams. The commitment to be a team, on a team, and be a teammate, and have accountability and have responsibility on a team, to me, it seems to be easy to wipe away from, because I'm just going to go over here and play at a different team this week, and next week I play up. I practice over here, I play down here. So we've got to work on that. Coaches of the young ages clearly focus on winning versus development. I don't see any off ice, but yet we have all our dogs, or all our coins in the one basket, because we talk about winning this national championship or this tournament or going here or going there. Meanwhile, the practice to game ratios and the roster manipulation that I've seen at the young team levels is definitely focused on winning versus developing players. You guys heard those guys yesterday. Like, what do we need to focus on? You need to keep more kids in the game for longer, and then let them get through puberty and see who's going to be an athlete. And then we've got to provide training programs that really actually develop athleticism so that they can develop their skill and actually maximize their genetic potential. I have been impressed with how many coaches come to the rink and have a practice plan, quite honestly. But then they have a practice plan, but they don't coach or teach within that drill. They set it up, they let it run, and there's some advantage to that. Let the game be the teacher, or let the drill be the teacher. See if they can solve it, see if they can problem solve and learn from it. But at the same time, we do have to be actively coaching if we're on the ice. So what is the key point? Pete talked about having a purpose for the small area games. Do we talk to those players about the purpose of the game? Do we let them go through a couple of reps and then meet them in the back of the line when they come back and say, hey, did you think of that? What did you see there? What could you have done better there? What would you do differently next time? Do we do anything like that? So that's one of the things we're going to help our club coaches with. Is what I call the art of coaching. Players don't pass the puck. Players want to take it and go. They don't realize they don't utilize their four teammates. They don't realize the game is easier if you move the puck and move. Create 2-on-1s all over the ice. Understand how to create offense. They hold on to the puck too long. They skate up the ice. They run into somebody or several people. Puck gets knocked off the stick. It's like watching 8 and under full ice hockey. It just goes back and forth, one guy at a time. I know that's harsh, but I've been with the under 18 team 2 years in a row. I've been with the GB Futures. I've been to a lot of the national championships. I've been to Showcase, Scotland, England. That's just what I'm seeing. Offensive players without the puck. So those offensive players, the teammates, the 4 guys that don't have the puck, they don't support the puck carrier. So they don't work to get open. They don't make it easy for the puck carrier to get to them, or to get the puck to them. They don't talk, they don't communicate. Now, I will say, this isn't that uncommon. Like, this isn't like it's just a UK issue. It's a youth hockey issue that I have identified for our staff, these are goals when we go work with the clubs, when we go work with coaches, when we go work with players. These are things we want to prioritize. So observations is the number of youth players we have is almost 4,000. We got about 46 clubs. Anybody have a calculator, want to do the math on the average number of players per club? Yeah, under 90, right? So it's a pretty low number, because I know some of you have more than that. But as we look around, you go, across the country, and I know there's challenges, I know there's excuses, I know, there's a lot of senior hockey, there's a lot of rec hockey, but for youth hockey and the hours we have and the number of clubs we have, intensity and practices are low. We don't get after it. There's very low levels of compete against your teammate. And we need to strive to make practice more competitive even than the games. Because if you don't compete in practice, you're just training not to be competitive in a game. So we got to raise the bar with that compete level and that get after it level in practice. Again, angling, body checking. And then the one I really noticed first, and I actually talked to the under 16 team a year ago, is because I asked them all, I individually asked them, about their hockey dreams and what do they want out of hockey, and where do they see themselves if everything works out? What would they like to do with the sport of hockey? And I was really surprised. Like none of those kids, and they were good players on the team, like good players, and their aspirations was to play for their local town team. And I would say to them, like, that should be your fallback plan, because you're a good player. You're only 15 years old. And like, if you really put your mind to this, you could be Liam Kirk. You could go farther than Liam Kirk. Like the opportunity. So I think that's something we all need to think about. How can we improve and help these kids dream big and find heroes and find, and I know there's a couple, I know the challenges, but I think we have to look at coming up with solutions to present heroes to them, to present dreams and open their mind to dream bigger. Because they get up to that U16, U18, and there's plenty of good hockey players that could have a very bright future. But I think they sell themselves short by either being too humble or too shy to dream that big. But I can tell you, like now, there are kids coming from Florida that play in the National Hockey League. Florida's not much different than here. There's kids coming from Texas. There's kids coming from Arizona. Austin Matthews is from Arizona, never played on a full-size sheet of ice until he was 14. Like, California, Colorado, New Mexico. So if they can do it there. So this is a common youth sport thing. It's not just a hockey thing, but some people get caught up in winning. It overtakes what they really are actually trying to do, which is help develop players for the long term, right? But you heard it yesterday from a couple of guys, we focus on Saturday's game versus, and I thought Quentin had a great point about their club, is they had a season plan, and the games were on the weekend where it's like the test in school. Where are my students? Where are we in our progression for the year? So talk about, I stole this obviously from days past, but every single one of these kids in our club does have potential. Are we doing the best job to provide them with the right training environment to capitalize on the potential and the genetic potential that they have? And these are, again, age-appropriate training. Individual skills is obviously critical. Efficient practice plans, develop their hockey sense, off-ice training, body checking, and goaltending. That's the theme, right? One of the things our strength and conditioning coach, and Mike Boyle, he trains NHL players, NCAA players, high school, prep school players in Boston. He's got one of the most renowned hockey training facilities, and he's been at it for years. His point to our coaches was, you just can't speed farm. You can't make a 10-year-old like a 14-year-old. You shouldn't get too far ahead with them. You need to know where they are from a biological standpoint for sure, but you have to treat them where they are and meet them where they are. And patience is huge. So what are we doing? Recruitment and growth. Obviously, we want to increase awareness of the sport. Our financial backer, that was one of his goals when I first met him, is he said, I want every kid in the UK to know what ice hockey is by the time they're 8 years old. So it's an aggressive goal, but obviously, you don't turn on the news and see it. It's not on the morning shows, really, unless it's something negative. So what can we do to just increase the awareness first and then increase participation? So obviously, we've talked about some grassroots initiatives, some target marketing. So the real reason Erica's here is to help us with that. It's try-it programs, partnerships with things like schools and NHL Street, IHF, the Elite League, National League, and British Ice Skating. We've done a project with British Ice Skating. Pete Wynn helped us out with that, where we did a joint project. We videotaped and we created a program for Learn to Skate for Ice Hockey. And it's going to be free to anybody, whether it's a rink run program or whether it's just a parent that has access to the app and they want their kid to learn to skate, and some curriculum to that. So recruitment and growth. Clubs need to know your numbers. Like, I thought it was a good point by Quint saying, hey, how often do you check the standings or whatever of your favorite team or your league? Do we check our numbers that frequently? Do we really know where we stand with our membership? I'm a big believer we have to know if you're building, these are businesses, whether we like to admit that or not. If it's a development business, but it also has to be a financial business where we have to be able to take care of things financially so we can do the things we want to do from a development point of view. So we have to have a business plan. Whatever the pinnacle is of our individual club, if it's U19, if it's a SNL team, an NIHL team, an elite league, whatever it is, we have to understand that ladder and that progression if we want to develop any of our own kids. And we got two choices. We can either say we're going to recruit kids, we're going to train them, we're going to develop them, and they stay in our club, or we're not going to do that, and we don't care how many kids we got, because at this U16 or U19, we'll just go steal other people's players that have done the work. There's nothing in between, right? Like, kids don't come walking in at 14, 16 years old unless they move in from somewhere else and give you enough numbers to populate a team. So do we know the attrition? Like, when do kids drop out? What are the tendencies in our club? Do they drop out at 11? Do they drop out at 13? Is it because of body checking? Is it because of other sports? Is it because of the time commitment's too much? Is it because of poor coaching? Is it because of school? What is it? But we need to know those types of things. And that's from a club leadership point of view. And if we're not doing that, we do need to put our finger on that and make a commitment to do that. So we need every club to identify a point person for growth. So who's going to raise their hand and say, Kevin is the club rep for recruitment and growth for ABC Club. We need to have that person identified so that we can that's the initial step, so that we can communicate with somebody. We can help dive into the numbers. We can help support that, and then help put together recruitment programs that might help drive recruitment and growth in that club. Establish recruitment goals. We at USA Hockey, we did such a simple task. We just challenged people. We were able to say, okay, last year you had 18 new 5-year-olds. Let's have a 2+2 challenge. So let's just add 2 kids to that next year. So let's try to get, last year you had 18, let's try to get 20 this year. And then the next year try to add 22. So it's a very simple strategic plan, but if we don't have a plan, we're not going to hit the target. I believe, this is a goal I've set for myself, is that eventually we can help your clubs get to 20 kids in each birth year. And I know if we only have, on average, less than 90 in a club, that's pretty aggressive. But if you go back to kids playing on multiple teams, playing in multiple clubs, we've got to try to shoot for 20. That'll give us 40 in an age group. And that'll give us enough to be competitive, deal with attrition as kids get older, and shoot for that. How many people think I'm crazy? The guy that knows me the best. Increase communication. So that's on us, is try to increase and improve communication with everybody. So provide communication with coaches and players and parents. I'm a big believer in not bombarding families and clubs and people with, all the information, but if we can give you targeted information, so if you have a 9 or 10-year-old, we can give you a newsletter that's applicable to that. It's short, it's sweet. Erica was talking about aggregating other articles or other videos that are relevant to your child and your child's age group. It's a really inexpensive way to communicate and let parents know that, hey, what we're doing in my club is a good thing and we're right on track. I don't need to go running around anywhere else. Age-specific monthly webinars for coaches and parents especially. Mentoring and consultation. So this is a big one for players that have considering going abroad. I've had several families talk to me, and it's both ends of the spectrum. It's, hey, we're going abroad, and I'm like, where are you going? And they tell me, and I'm like, I worked at USA Hockey 25 years. I've never heard of that club. Like, buyer beware, And then the other is you find out they go. I think Jono said this yesterday. They go and they're back in a year and they didn't have a good experience. Personally, where I sit today, I'm really selfish. If you're going to go, I want you to come back a better player. Our GB team needs you to come back a better player. Our program needs that. So let us help you. We're biased, but we'll put our bias on the table that we're biased because we want you to be good and go to a good program. We want to make sure that you're not packing 6 kids into a 2-bedroom apartment. You got to figure out how to get yourself to the rink in the midst of winter when there's snow and ice and you're 14, 15, 16 years old. Who's feeding you? Where are you getting your food? Do you have to shop yourself? You've never made your bed, let alone do your laundry or cooked your dinner, right? Is there strength and conditioning off ice? How much time do they practice? Do they play? Is it a real, quote-unquote, AAA program, or is it just fabricated with a website? Where do they play? What leagues do they play in? What events do they play? We can help with that. We can help kids with that. We can help parents. Just assure that if you're going to go and you're going to spend the money, let us help. At least we'll give you the questions to ask. We're not going to tell you where to go or where not to go. We'll help with the questions. We'll help introduce you to people that play in those same leagues, or maybe some people that have already been to those places, had some great experiences, and then some people that went to other programs that didn't have. So you avoid those missteps. Because we want kids to have a good experience with hockey. I'm not saying don't go abroad at all. But if you go, we can help with some positive experiences. So we talked about the 20 players per birth year. Off-ice becomes part of practice. That's one of the things in Finland is practice, but practice includes on-ice and off-ice. So we need to strive to get to that. We need fitness standards, so we have physical testing. And I know there's been a lot of testing done at some events here, but from what I've heard from the people that have done the testing, there hasn't been a lot of follow-up and implementation or adjustment based on the results of those tests. So we're going to actually put some fitness standards in. You come to one of our programs, we'll test you, we'll tell you where you are, we'll help you, give you a plan, but then when you come back, you better show us some progression. If you don't show us progression and we still got issues, then you might be sent home, or there's got to be a reason. But if you're not meeting the physical standards, you don't deserve to have a spot on a roster or a spot at a camp when there's other kids busting their butt to get in shape and take this seriously to be an athlete. Because we have to make that a priority here. I know this is really a simple concept, the 3-to-1 practice-to-game ratio, but it's a 3-to-1 practice-to-game ratio that is an efficient practice plan. And how many people think that most of their teams get a 3-to-1 practice-to-game ratio? I know it's a little different here because of sometimes you go a long time without a game, and so to me, that's the minimum. That's the minimum at the little kid level. As we get older, we want to move to 4 practices a week for you 14 and older. And then I know this is a challenge here, is to get minimum 35 competitive games a year. minimum competitive games. So we've got a lot of work to do on that. I know there's a big imbalance, but these are goals. These are goals of Kevin, and I'm pushing the goals for the foundation point of view. This is what we're striving to help build and help create. So build the staff to serve 5 regions. Right now, like I told you, we're just starting with 3 regions. We have the growth, the hockey development, the goaltending, athlete development, scoring. Our number one objective is to start out doing club visits, establish those relationships, discuss the needs. What do you need from us? How can we help you? And then we'll work through things and progress with whatever support that we can provide you. The hockey development managers will primarily be focusing, this is the hockey development managers now, okay? Primarily be focusing on the U14 to the U19 with single birth years. They'll be working with the coaches of those age groups. They'll be working with on ice and off ice with those age groups, with those players. Parent communication, ongoing evaluations. This is something we've committed to, is these ongoing evaluations of the players that are in this player pool that are considered to be the top players in your region. So it's in your region. So the regional managers will be evaluating and looking for those top 20 or 30 kids in a birth year in your region, and then tracking them with RinkNet and evaluating them, and hopefully we see their progression going like this. So our regional managers will be doing that. For the coach development, learn to play is obviously a huge part of this. We talked about the long-term athlete development stages of active start and fundamentals. High activity, fun. This just needs to be fun, so we make sure that they come back. We do work on agility, balance, coordination. That's that off-ice part that I think that we're missing right now with those little kids, is agility, balance, coordination, and that first speed window, that multi-directional speed, little sprint, right, left, forward, backwards, the ability to do that, skipping, hopping, the rhythm. A lot of people have talked about gymnastics. A lot of people have talked about maybe some martial arts, different sports that can help, even swimming. Badminton is a great one for kids that age. This is a poster I had made for my office years ago, but for this age group, this is the mindset we have to create. The kids are coming to a playground. It's a hockey playground. This is what we're trying to do, is make it fun on ice. So coach and player development, what are we going to do there? It's the development of and support of club coaches, modern training, the online stuff with ice hockey systems to support with practice plans and templates for drills, practice plans, off ice, on ice, some parent education presentations, some coach education presentations on there, videos that we talked about, implement structured development programs across all the regions, so that we're all kind of on the same page. We're not going to force anybody to do this, but we're going to offer it up. And the ones that take advantage of it, so my mantra is help the ones that want to be helped. Like if you got it figured out already and you're happy with where you are in the production of players that you have right now, hey, we'll move on to the next club, because I'm sure there's others that would like to spend time with the quality staff that we have. Just talking about a little older, so we'll be visiting clubs on a regular basis. Like we said, we have those newsletters, peer group communications, goalie coaching, strength coaching, skills coaches, but it starts to ramp up with quite a bit of extra work when you start to get in those older age groups. I've talked to Pete about this. I've talked to others about it. We need to develop a style of play. What do we want to look like in the ideal circumstance? Like, what are our values? What are our goals? What kind of style, what kind of play do we want to play? What kind of players are we looking for? We've had a lot of conversation of that. What are the non-negotiables for coaches and when a player reaches that pinnacle? And some of this might be different at, say, U14, U16, U18, U20 versus what it is at the men's national team. We've had the conversation, if somebody's coaching an under 18 team at the World Championships, their priorities might be a little bit different than the men's national team. The under 18 team might be, hey, we want to see both goalies play. We want to see all 6 defensemen play. all 12 forwards. It's kind of like who's, sometimes players have to prove to us that they can't play at that level. That's as important as, and then every now and then you'll find guys that are better than we thought they were when they get in those competitive situations. So opportunities for improvement, we talked about bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic players. This is kind of falls under the pillar of the athlete performance or performance director position. We talked about ways to play. In my mind, these are understanding the 4 roles: offense with the puck, offense without the puck, defense on the puck, defense away from the puck. Those are pretty simple concepts to talk about, but can really be provide good guidance into how we build our practice plans and what we work on with our players, with their strengths and the details. Creating offense, different things there. Attitudes, I think those are, in my mind, those are pretty non-negotiable, but we'll have to build until we can get there. Building the elite junior culture. So we talk about mindset, work ethic, physical and mental. We're talking about national development camps on a regular basis throughout the year and trying to put a calendar together to publicize so that everybody knows on these 3 or 4 weekends in a year, we're going to invite players that are at the national level to get together. And then we want to try to get 24 to 48 games for those best players in those birth years. We've already started something with GB Futures where they've played 3, or they've had participated in 3 events with 3 other, well, it's England, Scotland, Belgium, and Spain is what it's been so far. Norway was at the first camp, and that was it's a development thing where we train and practice. We actually mix kids together from the different countries for practices. Those have been led by our staff, and then they play a game in the evening against each other. So that's just the start of that process. Competitive development program. So this is where it gets kind of meaty and somewhat new. So regional and national training sessions by invitation at the youth. This is regional, okay? It starts as regional, and we'll run them at U14, U15, U16, U17, and U18, single birth years. We think we're going to do single birth years. We could end up having to combine birth years, and also goaltending training. And then at U15, I mentioned the GB Futures, and then establish, this is a probably 2-year process, but we're working on it already. Establish regional training centers. I don't know, maybe a better word is academy. I think everybody seems, if you say academy, to me it's polarizing. I don't like the term academy unless we can really be an academy. But to have full-time permanent locations, 3 of them at least, to start with, where kids they're there every day. We do off-ice training, we do on-ice training, we have individual skills, we have video. There's 2 teams there. There's an under-16 and an under-19 team there, and they train, and it's invitation only. They're required to be in school or be in a apprentice program, and our staff will coach those teams. We'll have a partnership with the rink. We'll have a partnership with the local school, and then the parents will pay a portion of that. And so this is an alternative to try to keep kids at home and give them an alternative to stay home, stay in this school system, be within a couple hours of their parents, instead of being 7 or 8 time zones away and not really knowing what you're signing up for. But we got a lot of work to do before we get there, a lot of work. But if anybody has ideas, I throw it out to this group because I've talked to a few people and there's some interest from some people in the room. So we're looking for 2 or 3 of them to get started. And then from that, we would have 4 or 5 competitions throughout the season against other nations. And the nations I've suggested are Denmark, Norway, Austria, France, and Hungary, all ranked above us in the world rankings for the IHF. And I tried to bait Peter Breeze on that when we were doing the little Q&A there the other day, but Peter has actually suggested that the IHF might be willing to support something like this because they want to see the bottom half of that men's world championship division to be more competitive. So they understand. All those other countries have the same challenges we have. Kids leaving, not staying home, And then the ones that do stay home struggle to get the competitive games and the competitive training, hours on ice at their age groups for age-appropriate training and age-appropriate competition. Any questions about that? We have talked about it. The biggest question we have right now is, do we have enough girls to do that? That's the biggest question. The girls will be included in the regional training if they're of that level. We've already had a couple of girls attend different ones that we've done. It's a matter of having enough girls to field that type of program, but it's on the paper. Regional development academies we talked about within each region. What it does for us, though, it gives us a little bit more hands-on to impact the development. It also, I think it also does give kids in the region something to strive for. So this is like maybe the first step towards becoming an elite hockey player. And then it's critical for us to have great relationships, really strong relationships with these different leagues, because those good teenagers get pulled here or there, and we have to make sure that we have a good relationship to where they understand what our opinion is and what our thoughts are about development. And it's about critical development to help our GB national team succeed. Because sometimes they go someplace, but they don't get to play, or they don't get off-ice training. They're not getting what we need, but we also want to reciprocate when we can reciprocate and understand that their business needs to succeed, but they need to understand that our business needs to succeed. And we can collaborate, because there's a lot of examples around Europe where these leagues and the federation collaborate, and it actually makes both stronger. Technology and tools we talked about. We're building an app to host this stuff, but we also have ice hockey systems. How many people are aware of the deal we have with ice hockey systems for your coaches and your clubs? Anybody? Some? Okay, we got to do a better job of getting that word out. We talked about RinkNet, Instat. We have these performance analytic tools that we use. Again, plan, execute, review. Steve, I'm stealing this. I stole it for years and years and years. And you know, when we build a club, oh sorry. Let me turn it off. Hey, I took the other video out. So sometimes we talked about, you know, good, just okay, okay? That's a pretty good, if I'm on the beach, that's a pretty good sandcastle for me, okay? But is that how we want our club, or do we want that? That's taking it a step forward, right, and ramping it up. Or you want your club to symbolize your club and the quality of your club. Or you're going to be world leading, world class with the efforts that you put into it. Saw this and I thought, you know what? There's a lot of truth to this, isn't there? There's not many world-leading youth programs of any sport in the world, but we've heard from several different presenters this weekend that have shown us some pretty good examples. And there's not very many of those guys out there. So it's easy to talk about in a conference room or a hotel. It's real easy to talk about it here. But the work gets done at the grassroots level, at the rink, day in, day out. That's where players are developed. We can help, we can support, but the real work is done day in and day out, 1 hour at a time at the local rink. Stacking one practice on top of another one, 1 week on top of another one, one month on top of another one, and then 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, you look back and you're like, holy cow, we've done a pretty good job. We've grown, and our players are pretty good now. So I just want to stress that, you know, this whole weekend has been to introduce ourselves, to introduce our staff. Hopefully you've had some time to have a dinner or lunch with them, or enjoy a beer or a coffee. I just wanted to let you know that how sincere we are and how lucky we know we are to be able to do this full time and to help you all. And hopefully, like we can just beg and plead that you lean on us, whether it's a phone call, whether it's an email, whether it's a Zoom, that we are here to help and support whatever your efforts and needs are at your local club. So thank you very much.